What's going on, guys? Welcome to our YouTube channel, or welcome back to our YouTube channel if you're already subscribed. Today we're going to be talking about the most asked question for a lot of people PCSing or relocating to Mountain Home, Idaho, which is it better to live in Mountain Home or Boise, Idaho, as you guys get ready to relocate this way? So stay tuned. We're going to be giving you guys a lot of value as far as how to make an informed decision on which city is best for you. All right, guys, so if you're new here, I am Nasim Issa. I am your YouTube channel host, and if you haven't already, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, as we will be dropping many more videos just like this throughout the week, every single week, just for you. As you guys know, Boise and Mountain Home are within an hour of each other. Now, if you aren't familiar where Boise or Mountain Home is, here is a map. Basically, Boise and Mountain Home is a very, very short trip. Now, for some of you, this may be an extended trip. As you can see, it can take anywhere between 35 to 50 minutes, depending on where you live within Mountain Home or Boise, driving in both directions. It may seem like a long drive the first couple of times as you do it. As you progressively do it, it does feel like it gets shorter and shorter every time. However, it is still a decent drive. Now, with that being said, some things that you want to take into account: is it going to be traffic heavy, or is it going to be making sense? Does it make sense to live in Boise versus Mountain Home if you have to travel back and forth for work? Absolutely. Here's the best part. Now, I-84, which is the interstate that is in between the two, is always kept relatively clean, whether it's sunny, whether it's snowing, whether it's hailing, whether it's icy. Whatever the weather is, they typically take really good care of the roads. And for whatever reason, in the very few times that they haven't been able to upkeep it, then they do send out notifications as far as delays and things of that nature. So those are some things to take into consideration. Now, let's give you guys kind of an overview as far as Boise versus Mountain Home. Now, Boise is a very small city. However, it is much bigger than Mountain Home. So as far as population goes, Boise has over 200,000 people currently living in Boise. You have anything from condos to single family homes to apartments to luxury living. So you have a pretty good amount of everything as far as living goes in Boise. Now, I will say, with it being more populated, there will be immensely more amenities. There's going to be so much more entertainment opportunities. There's just going to be so much more that you can do in Boise. Most people that live in Mountain Home tend to actually drive up to Boise during the weekends just so they can enjoy, shopping or going to the movies or hanging out with friends or grabbing a nice dinner, whatever it may be that people like to do, or just going to float the Boise River, right? There's so much to do in Boise. On the other side, though, you have Mountain Home, which Mountain Home is a small town. It's about just a little over 16,000 people, so there's a pretty drastic drop in population there. But most people like Mountain Home because it's peaceful, it's quiet, there's not much traffic, and then there's not a lot to do. You have the necessities, right? You have, your Walmart, your Albertsons, your D&B supply if you need to go work on stuff, or AutoZone if you got something going on with your car. But that's pretty much all Mountain Home has right now, is just necessity based areas, right? There's not necessarily a shopping center, and we always joke around, right? Mountain Home, the best shopping mall in Mountain Home is Walmart. And I know that sounds terrible, and for some people they're okay with that, or for some people they would prefer somewhere where they could go out and just experience life on a general basis. Now, as far as location goes, Mountain Home does have very close proximity to some of the most beautiful areas, from the Snake River to the Sand Dunes State Park, where you can literally just take a little bodyboard sled and just slide down the sand. And then they also have Anderson Dam and Box Canyon and all these different areas where you can just go travel and just enjoy recreational activities outdoors. So let's talk about the pros and cons of living in Boise, and then we'll talk about the pros and cons of living in Mountain Home. So to kick it off with Boise, one of the top pros that so many people love about Boise is the vibrant downtown. For those of you that love to go out and walk and socialize and meet people, Boise is definitely for you, because it has this downtown environment where you can find anything from smoothie stores to boba to Asian cuisine to Mexican food and Mexican restaurants and fine dining and all the stuff that you possibly look for in a city. Boise does have it. Now, I will say it has become more and more popular, which means with that is more mom and pop shops as well as franchise stores. So you'll start to see Dutch Bros, and you'll start to see Panda Express and Chipotle all over the place, right? So if you're someone that likes to snack on fast food, or you prefer to go get fast food instead of cook at home, then this is perfect. But they also have a bunch of shopping centers. There's a ton of restaurants and things like that, right? So they have a great sushi spot called Yoitomo. They just have so much to offer within downtown. And then you can also go hike Table Rock and get an overlook of the city. And then if you're into the nightlife, downtown in Boise is way better than Mountain Home, full transparency. You do have clubs, you do have bars, you do have just that environment where if you just want to go take a Friday, Saturday night and have a good time with your friends, you can definitely go do that in downtown. Now, another pro, and this is probably very, very important for those of you that may have children or plan on having children, is the education in Boise is significantly better than what is offered right now in Mountain Home. You're super limited in Mountain Home as far as schooling goes, and now Boise is a part of the Boise School District, and then they are also part of the West Ada County School District as well, depending on what area you live, which the West Ada County School District was actually ranked #1 in both mathematics and English language arts in the past year as far as test scores and things of that nature. So as far as schooling goes, it's a huge, huge, huge plus to have your children enrolled in the Boise School District. And on top of that, as far as sports and things of that nature, it's a lot more competitive as far as athletics. And whereas Mountain Home is more so people that are kind of fluctuating, they may come and go because they're PCSing and things of that nature. So there's just a lot more consistency in Boise. Now, I also want to add in that if you are wanting to, maybe you also have a significant other or yourself that is looking to be in school or to take classes and things of that nature, then you also have Boise State University. They have tons and tons of majors and minors if you want to get your degree in different things. So that is also a huge plus for those of you that are still pursuing your educational career as well. Now, as far as another pro, there is also the access to the outdoor activities that Boise has to offer as well. Now, the most popular one is going to be the Boise River Greenbelt, which is one of the most beautiful areas. You can go fishing in the water, you can go float the water, which if you're someone that loves to float, you have to float it. It's about a 3-hour float. So you're definitely on there for a good amount of time. You'll start up at one of the parks and you'll float all the way down to another one, and then you can take a bus back. But it's just a really good time for those of you that are into that. Then you also have access to Table Rock, as I mentioned. You have access to tons of hot springs in the surrounding areas. There's just so much to do outdoor activity wise. Now, maybe you're a golfer. Well, you can go golf all day long because there is tons of beautiful golf courses, whereas Mountain Home is going to be limited to just the one off base, and then there's one on base as well. But those are actually really great ones as well. However, you do have choices here. So if you're kind of picking up on what I'm saying, there's just a lot more opportunity in the Boise side of things. Now, I know I'm hyping it up a lot, so you definitely need to know that there are cons with living in Boise as well. The biggest con for those of you that are maybe relocating to Mountain Home or PCS in Mountain Home, and this is just more so for my military folks, you guys do not get paid enough. There's no amount of money that I think pays for what you guys do, including myself. If you guys don't know my story, I actually used to be active duty military. I came on active military duty orders back in 2017 and have been here since. But I also have gotten out of the military now and now help other military members as well as others. For those of you that don't know that, so I am a licensed real estate agent now, and popping up on the screen, you'll see my phone number as well as my email. Please, 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 please don't hesitate to reach out. Call me, text me, email me at any time, and I'm more than happy to get back to you guys as soon as I can. So with that being said, guys, back to the con of higher cost of living in Boise. Now, when you're looking at prices and things of that nature, as far as gas, utilities, things of that nature, you won't necessarily feel it on utilities. Utilities is relatively cheap in both Boise and Mountain Home, but you will feel it as far as going out to eat more often because you're surrounded by it, right? You will feel it when you go get groceries because groceries are a little more expensive than they are in Mountain Home. And that's more so due to all the different categories as far as organics foods that they're gonna be able to offer you. All the different shopping centers from Trader Joe's to Albertsons to Walmart's and all that good stuff. So they just have a lot more as far as what you can do and what you can achieve by shopping. So groceries tend to be a little more. Gas is going to be slightly the same. It's not too different between Mountain Home and Boise. It's usually a couple of cents difference. But the biggest hit, the most important hit, and the reason why the higher cost of living really hits you in Boise is because of the real estate side of things. Now, as of right now, Boise is seeing an average price point of $570,000 for real estate. Now, for those of you that may be thinking that's expensive, well, when you compare to Mountain Home, it definitely is. So it is a little more expensive on the housing side of things. Now, you do have apartments and all that stuff, but however, even that is more expensive because we're starting to see rent is becoming less and less common in the $1,000 price point, right? It doesn't exist anymore. Now we're starting to see it in the 2,000 plus price point, and if you do find something that's less than that, it's typically in the outskirts of Boise rather than in Boise itself. So getting more expensive as far as housing goes. However, there's still room for it to expand. We did see a dip in house prices, which is actually why it's actually lower, because not too long ago it was in the $600,000 price point as far as median prices go. So you are getting houses for a deal right now if you would like to purchase a home. However, just so you guys know, it is a lot more than Mountain Home. So as far as Mountain Home goes, one of the biggest pros that it's going to have is going to be affordability. Now, Mountain Home significantly cheaper compared to Boise and all the other cities around it as well. So just so you guys know, real estate, just because we were just talking about that, the median price point in Mountain Home is actually $345,000. So we're talking about a $200,000 plus difference, to where you can get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house for $350 plus in Mountain Home, versus where in Boise you would be looking at anywhere between $500 plus for that. So just a lot cheaper. Now let me take this back. You can find houses in the $300,000 and $400,000 price point in Boise. However, the price may reflect the condition, because obviously the price point is a lot higher. Now I will say it is a lot higher because there's also luxury homes and there's a lot of condos and things of that nature, which may run for a lot more. However, just in general speaking, real estate is more expensive in Boise than it is in Mountain Home. So coming back to it, you can get some beautiful homes in Mountain Home, and I actually would like to show you guys the difference. So what I'll do real quick, I'm gonna show you guys the difference between some of the homes in Boise and some of the homes in Mountain Home. So take a look. All right guys, so that's kind of the comparison as far as Boise and Mountain Home houses go. Now you can see this, they look very relatively similar. However, Boise does tend to have a lot more beautiful homes because they don't go as high-end in Mountain Home. It's just not as well known for that. However, there are still some higher-end homes in Mountain Home in the Purple Sage area, which if you guys would like questions or would like to go deeper into that, make sure you guys comment or give me a text or call, as I did drop my phone number earlier in the video. And with all that being said, we'll move on from real estate. Now, the next conversation, the next pro we're gonna have is going to be the community feel. Now, Boise, as you know, it has a population of over 200,000 people. There's no way you're gonna feel like you belong to the community of Boise. However, you may find a community within the population, right? Mountain Home, on the other end, is going to be a tight-knit community. Like everything that Mountain Home does, you're gonna see a lot of the same people. You're gonna know your neighbors. You're gonna know kind of everything that's going on in Mountain Home because not a lot happens. I will say both Boise and Mountain Home have extremely low crime rates. They have amazing, amazing, amazing quality of life. So there's a lot to go with why the communities feel like they're great communities to be involved in or even to be a part of, because there's so much good within the communities within both cities. Another pro that's going to come with Mountain Home is going to be its proximity to nature. Now I know I kind of hit on this, right? You have Anderson Dam, which is extremely close. You have the sand dunes, which is extremely close. You also have CJ Strike, which is the most popular, where they actually have outdoor rec on Mountain Home Air Force Base. So if you're military, this is awesome for you. And you can coordinate even, you know, getting a cabin, you can coordinate getting boats and things and take it straight to CJ Strike, which is minutes away from the base and minutes away from the town as well, and just go enjoy fishing or tubing or whatever it is you like to do outdoors, and it's just a great experience. Now, it also is not too far from Bogus Basin. Now, obviously Boise is next to Bogus Basin, however, it's also not too far from Mountain Home, to where during the winter times, if you like to snowboard or ski or do any of that stuff, you can just take a straight shot trip through Boise up to the mountains. So that does have location. It does have to go through Boise. So obviously, like I said, Boise's closer, but it is still in prime location as far as all the different things you can do surrounding it. Now, this is gonna be a huge downfall for a lot of you, because some of you may have significant others, and some of you may be thinking about getting out of the military, and it's just something you want to think about now, which is going to be the low employment opportunities. So there's not a lot going on, which to Boise's pro, there is a lot going on. There's a lot of opportunities as far as how to get a job and things of that nature, whereas Mountain Home is super limited, right? There's not a lot of choices as far as whether you're going to work on base or at Walmart, or you know, there's a few small practice areas within this town itself, but outside of that, there's just not too much going on with that. So with that being said, it's just something to think of, or maybe you should start applying ahead of time. That way, when you do get here, you're not really surprised as far as where you should live, or if it makes it easier to live in a bigger city to be able to get employed. So we kind of went through a lot. There's a lot of pros to both. There's a lot of cons to both. Obviously, Boise is more established, but with it being more established, more and more people want to live there. Mountain Home is not as established. However, it does have the necessities, and not too many people know about Mountain Home. So you do have that peace and quiet, among other things that both have as far as pros and cons go. But ultimately, the decision is going to have to be yours as far as, are you willing to make a trip? If you have to travel for work, is that 45-minute drive too much? Or if you don't have to travel, is it better to live somewhere where it's more affordable and then build that equity as it goes? Or what does that look like for you? So with that being said, guys, I would love to hop on a Zoom call to help you guys to the best of my capability and make an informed decision on if Boise or Mountain Home is better for you. So once again, I am a licensed real estate agent, and as much as I love making these videos for you guys, I would absolutely love to help you with your home buying needs. So once again, you'll see my cell phone number, my email, and if you would like to schedule a Zoom call with me, check out the description. You'll see my Calendly link is directly linked to that. You can hop on my calendar for a quick 30-minute call so we can kind of go through the things that are important to you. But outside of that, guys, there's so much more that I could talk about with Boise and Mountain Home, but we're gonna call it good, and make sure you guys check out my other videos that are more solely focused on Boise or Mountain Home as well. So with that, thank you guys, and if you haven't already, make sure you press the like button, comment where you're watching from or where you're headed from, and then also press the bell at the top of the screen so that you get notified when we drop more amazing videos just like this. As always, thank you guys, love y'all, see you on the next one.